Good day everyone. Hope you've had a chance to review my video on Pareto principle. If not, fret not. A link to the same is there in the description below. Today we are going to be talking about yet another principle, avoiding which is going to help us be far more productive. Let me start with a story. A story of a girl in her teens who knows her exams are a couple of months away. She wants to do really well, so she pulls out her planner to work her plan. A month into the timeline, she realizes she hasn't gotten started on her plan, but knows if she puts in enough hard work, she may still be able to make it. Come the last week for her preparations, she still hasn't been able to cope up with her plan. And she pulls out her favorite subject to focus on it. Fast forward yet again to the day before the exam. She's buried in her books. She's up all night studying hard so that she can score well. In fact, in the morning, on her way to the school, in the bus, right outside the exam hall, she's continuing to study. Her head is buried in her books. Well, all's well that ends well. In fact, just about as well as could have been. Haven't we all been in this situation? Work expands to fill in all the time available to it. Meaning, work gets more complicated and daunting depending upon how much time we are allocating to it. In fact, we are generating more stress and tension for us. That's exactly what Parkinson's law states. Parkinson's law states that the time required to perform a task tends to extend to all the time available to perform it. Its name comes from the person who invented it, Cyril Parkinson. It holds true because we tend to give tasks longer than they actually need. Probably to give us some legroom or buffer, or because we have an inflated idea of how long the task is going to take us, or we are not fully aware of how quickly a task can be done. You would have seen many forms of the law in your life. Can you list some? Let me get you started. If you wait until the last minute, it only takes a minute for you to complete the task. The solution to this seems simple. Assign the right amount of time to the task. By doing so, hopefully we will create more time in our day, and also the task will reduce in its complexity to its normal self. But how do we do it? Now let's look at a few ways to keep Parkinson's law at bay and be far more productive. This holds true whether you work in an office, at home, or are a student. Because work harder and not smarter seems to be a cultural idea that many of us have fallen prey to, even when no one is supervising us. The first step is to race against time. To do so, make a list of all your tasks and the time you currently take to complete it. Now, give yourself just 90% of that time to complete the task. Treat this timeline as sacred, like a deadline from your boss or your clients. You have to win against the clock. That too, without compromising on the quality or taking any shortcuts. Treat this like an exercise to find out what the optimal time is. In the process, you may uncover that some of the tasks you have inflated estimations and some of them are just optimal. The ones that are just optimal, you may want to give yourself a little bit more time, probably because you're not being able to beat the clock. But do not revert back to the original timeline, as your optimal time may be somewhere between the 90th and the 100th percentile. The ones where you have an inflated idea of the timeline, you just have to repeat the process of giving yourself 90% of the allocated time till the time you reach your optimal timeline. The next step is to get the task done. To do so, block a chunk of your time to get a particular task done. A block of time may look like an hour, a couple of hours, by noon today, end of day today, by the end of this week, etc. But the focus is on getting the task done. Don't live hour by hour, live block by block. Don't stop till the task you've assigned to the block is complete. You may choose to use techniques like the Pomodoro technique, workplace popcorn strategy to help you with this. A link to these concepts is given in the description below. The next step is to salt the leeches. The leeches like spam email, social media, or feed checking, the habits that you think will typically take 20 to 30 minutes of your time. Trust me, these leeches of your productivity are going to suck into the most productive hours of your day. Instead of giving yourself a 20 to 30 minute leisure in the morning to check your email, give yourself a time-boxed 5 minutes. When done, move on to the tasks in your to-do list. Don't revert back to email checking till your tasks in your to-do list are checked off. At which point, of course, feel free to indulge in your email, social media, feed checking, commenting, and liking. In fact, this can be your reward for staying course. That actually brings us to the last step of rewarding yourself each time you stay course with these habits. A reward will only help you strengthen the habits and ensure that you are being as productive as you can be. A reward need not be big. It could be as small as a masala chai or a latest gadget that you always wanted to buy. Hopefully, this simple 4-step process will help you park Parkinson's law at bay. But wait, there are exceptions to this rule. For example, you're doing a task for the first time. You may not actually know how much time you're going to take to complete it. That's absolutely fine. Just start doing it, take note of how long you take to do the task the first time, and then initiate the process of the 90% time allocation. It may take you a couple of iterations till you reach your optimal time. Also note that as you become smarter on doing the newer task, your optimal time is going to improve far better. Another caveat is, now that you know about the Parkinson's law, don't indulge in underestimating the time you're allocating to your task. It is only going to stress you out. Remember, the idea is to get to the optimal time you need to complete your task at the right quality. Last but not the least, you may not be the one assigning the timeline to the task. For example, it may be your employer who is giving you a certain timeline by which to get the task done. That's okay. For example, if your employer gives you about 3 weeks to complete a task and you know it's only going to take you about a week to complete the task, do not procrastinate. Complete the task as soon as you think you can and figure out what to do with the rest of the time you have at hand. With that, we complete the simple 4-step process around keeping Parkinson's law at bay. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, remember to click the like button and share the video. If you would like to be notified of the upcoming videos, do remember to click the subscribe button. Of course, I'd love to hear more comments from you and what you'd like to hear me doing and saying in my next video. Thank you.